Good morning, Craig.
Morning.
These protests do appear to be spreading, gathering momentum. What's the political reaction been?
Well, the reaction has been, as you might expect, from the Republican side, one of mystification to an extent. Some senior Republicans are saying that they just appear, the Occupy movement protesters that is, just appear to be an angry mob, that they want to curtail freedoms in America. Notably today, the number 2 House Republican, Eric Cantor, came out and he was saying that they seemed to him to be a mob and that they were setting out to pit Americans against Americans. In other words, class warfare. Barack Obama spoke yesterday for the first time about the movement, and he was saying that he thinks mostly it's about directing frustration toward America's financial system. But he also went on in that press conference to describe how it was something of a national emergency in America in the wake of the financial crisis, with unemployment so high and household income falling so much. And certainly when you talk to the protesters, they are angry pretty much at Wall Street, at Congress, but also they're angry at the president, at the White House.
And to what extent can we characterise this as the left's answer to the Tea Party movement, which has seen large protests as well?
Well, it's complicated. I mean, it's not like the Tea Party in the sense that the Tea Party really did focus on fiscal issues, on debt, on tax, and also on big government. What you've got here is a coalition of groups. They're environmental activists, they're civil rights activists, they want more social equality, they're anti-war, and they also want jobs. I mean, down there at the Freedom Plaza occupation here in DC yesterday, I spoke to a young woman who's typical of a lot of students. They can't get jobs, they've got student loans. There was a man I spoke to from Nashville. He'd come all the way from Nashville to DC because his household income's halved from $80,000 down to $40,000. But it is a real grab bag coalition. Doesn't seem at this stage anyway to have the same focus that the Tea Party did. However, one of the similarities, I suppose, between these two movements is that both major parties, how they struggled to relate to them. There was a real concern in the Tea Party movement that they might get co-opted by Republicans, and certainly that same sentiment was being expressed at this occupation here in Washington, D.C. Yesterday, where protesters were saying they're not interested in being co-opted by the Democrats. They really want to change the whole system.
How similar are the two movements in terms of their popular support? Has the Occupy movement garnered the sort of crowds that the Tea Party movement was generating last year?
Well, the Occupy movement has certainly taken off this particular week, I think, because of the arrests. Hundreds of arrests on Brooklyn Bridge last weekend really gave them a lot of national and international media attention. They've spread to 50 cities now, and there certainly is a lot of energy there. How long that energy lasts for is a sort of an open question. It's cooling down here. It's going to get colder. We're moving through autumn here in North America. And also we've seen in recent days that the patience of New York police, for example, is wearing thin. As soon as the Occupy Wall Street protesters try and move outside of the designated areas, they are meeting a pretty physical response from New York City police. And here in DC, protesters were saying that they have a permit until Sunday night here, that they intend to stay on beyond that, of course, but how, again, the authorities respond to that, it's far from clear. So it's very early days for this movement, but there are some similarities. But again, the Tea Party seem to have more focus on key fiscal issues, whereas so far the Occupy movement really does seem to be more of a rainbow coalition.
OK, Craig McMurtry in Washington, thanks very much.
OK.